The family of a British man from Holloway. He's on death row in Ethiopia, are calling on David Cameron to demand his release from prison, a detention which they say is unlawful. Andargachew Tsege's family was joined by dozens of campaigners at 10 Downing Street last week, handing in a petition signed by more than 73,000 people. Originally from Ethiopia, the family now say they don't feel like they're being treated as if they're British. And Andargachew's partner, Yemi Hailemariam, joins me now. And thank you so much for joining us this afternoon, Yemi. Okay, to give us a little bit of background then. So you're saying Andargachew, called him Andy, he came here 1979, became a British citizen. How did he end up in the hands of the Ethiopians?
He, through his stay here, he has always been harbouring that Ethiopia should be as democratic as countries like here. And so he's always been a critic of the Ethiopian government. He had an opportunity in 2005 to participate in the opposition. That was the bleep year in Ethiopian politics. So he went back then. He was imprisoned. He came back. And then quite recently he was travelling to Eritrea, from Dubai to Eritrea, and transiting through Yemen. And during this transition is when they abducted him, and he ended up in the Ethiopians' hands.
So he was going through this transition, but this was in 2000, and in 2009 he was actually convicted of terror offences in Ethiopia. He wasn't present, and it was then that he was given the death penalty.
Yeah, they said that he facilitated, he trained and abated, is what they said, but he was nowhere near. He was never given the chance to defend himself. It was a terrorism law that was actually passed after the actual court proceedings had started. It was in company of, I don't know, over 20 people. So they have these, like kangaroo courts, basically, where they try. And at that time, I think it was all ex-military officials that they had tried in that trial. And there's a lot of documentation by foreign embassies to say that it was a sham trial.
And you say the way he was even captured in Yemen, that was illegally done?
It was illegally done. It was during a 2-hour transit. The UK government was not notified. There was absolutely no legal proceedings in his transfer from Yemen to Ethiopia. So the whole thing is illegal, yes.
But the issue is, and this is what the Foreign Office have told us, is the fact that they say despite their serious continuing concerns, there's no real illegal behaviour going on now. There's nothing unlawful in terms of how he's being treated. It's up to how the Ethiopian judiciary there handles this.
I don't know what kind of judiciary that they're talking about, because there's absolutely not been any kinds of legal due process at all in anything, and he's been in detention for the past 8 months. So there's nothing to even critique. We have not been given a chance. The transfer was definitely illegal, and they've said so. They've said so in their private correspondence between themselves. They've said it, and that was actually reported in the Daily Mail and also in BBC. So they know that it's illegal. It's just when they are communicating to us and the public that they're saying it's illegal. It's not illegal, sorry.
When's the last time you've spoken to him or had any contact with him? This happened last June when he was arrested and then imprisoned in Ethiopia. What kind of contact have you had with him?
We haven't had any contacts, except there was one out-of-the-blue phone call on the 14th of December. He had called, it was a Sunday morning, 8 a.m. in the morning. We picked up the phone and it was him on the other end. And we were allowed to speak to him for about 5 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was nice in a sense, like to actually hear his voice. But it was very brief, and the kids were really distraught. We have 3 children when they heard his voice. So yeah, that was the only contact.
And you're also accusing the Ethiopian government of torture. Where's your proof? How do you know that your partner's being tortured?
Okay. One is there is a long documentation of torture. There's a history of torture within the Ethiopian prison system. That's the first point. The second point is they haven't allowed any consular access to date. And in the 2 brief consular access that they have given to the UK embassy, the Ethiopian securities were there, but in their presence, that he said the way he's been detained, he's in solitary confinement, and also the lights are on all the time, is the only thing that we have as evidence. But, you know, like the idea that we can't be able to get hold of him and we can't have access to him, to me, is torture.
Well, I understand your next step is hopefully trying to get his lawyer, which is based here, get him out there. And we did get in touch with the Ethiopian embassy, and they've denied any form of torture. And indeed, they believe that they're going through the appropriate methods in Ethiopia. Yemi, we do wish you all the luck. Do let us know how everything gets on, and indeed, whether you do successfully get your lawyer out there. Thanks so much for joining us. Thank you.